Doc Loves the Kids, a local Kitsap County nonprofit organization established in 2015, whose mission is to provide activities, programs, and community support for at-risk youth.
They put the U in community.
Doc Loves the Kids.
Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
Will we give you the courtesy of conversation?
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. Hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to everybody that views our show. Don't forget to catch us every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. That is their Friday fix. Be jumping off, no politics. 1 p.m. Pacific time. That is the Sunday Town Hall debate show. We're gonna give it a name. It's over. We didn't BS. That's on us. That's on us.
Absolutely.
And the world's getting a little different.
Absolutely, man. How are you doing though? You good?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I can't complain. I've succumbed to what's happening now, and I'm just watching the chaos and the world burn. And I'm happy I got my tax returns. I'm probably never gonna get them again, but
you called it when you said I saw the king, the crown on Trump's head. You actually called that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really thinking
there's a picture of it right there.
Election
official from the White House. I told you. I was like, look, and I bet your cousin $10. I told you he ain't leaving.
It's sounding like he might not.
He's not going to.
If his health can hold up,
he gonna stay there forever.
Absolutely.
Even if his health don't hold up, bro. Like you got Elon Musk there with the AI stuff. They just gonna put a fake AI Trump up. You ain't got to see him. They're gonna put a fake Trump AI up. They're gonna do something to his kids, so they don't ever have to come see him. He don't ever have to. Look, it's over. We are in a. He said himself. He said, "Long live the king."
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, you want to start off? You want me to go?
Go ahead.
All right. GOP lawmakers beg Trump to spare their states from cuts that they publicly support. Republican lawmakers are publicly singing praises of President Donald Trump and tech billionaire Elon Musk as they take hatchets to federal grants and civil services. But behind the scenes, many are privately begging the White House to spare their own states, the New York Times reported on Wednesday. A week into his presidency, as their slash and burn campaign to remake the government has begun to affect their states and districts, some Republicans have tried to push back subtly in subtle ways, wrote Maya Miller and Kate Edmonds. For example, some Republicans have sought carve-outs and special considerations for agricultural programs, scientific research, and more. And even as they cheered Trump's overall approach. As one example, Kate Britt of Alabama, who state has received more than $518 million in NIH grants for project currently active there, told a local news outlet that she would press administration officials to take a smart, targeted approach to cuts so as to not hinder life-saving, groundbreaking research at high-achieving institutes, such as the University of Alabama of Birmingham. Meanwhile, several House Republicans representing rural areas introduced a bill that would move the Food for Peace program from the U.S. Agency to International Development, USAID, to the Department of Agriculture. And Senator Jerry Moran privately asked Trump to let food aid shipments currently sitting blocked at a U.S. port resume.
So
I mean, it's called cutting off your nose to spite your face.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
That's exactly what it is.
Now you look at the nuclear plant down in Pantex. It was a Pantex plant down in Amarillo, Texas. The same thing we just discussed on the last show, where they had 30% of their staff was cut. But this staff right here, they said, oh, these are people who deal with putting together the warheads for the nuclear for our nuclear arsenal. And so they got their staff back. But I was thinking at the same time, I said, no, that's probably just something in Texas that they need 30% of their workforce. That's a huge amount of workforce. On top of that, in Amarillo, Texas, where there's places already kind of more of a desolate area of Texas. So they're probably making a lot of money. So imagine how much money 30% of your staff is probably bringing into that town. They're probably making hundreds of thousands of dollars per employee. When you're dealing with nuclear materials, I'm sure you're making very good money, especially government money.
Well, think about this. The people, my bad to cut you off. People that run the parks, right? There's people like when you go to your state parks, your national parks, whatever, there's people that live there and they do the groundskeeping. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of all that. All those people, think about all those people that worked them jobs. They just lost their job and they lost their home because they live there.
I mean, when you start, I think they just got rid of 6,000 IRS workers. 6,000. We gotta look at this for what this is. I mean, if red states, if you guys are gonna talk about this like you love it every year, oh yeah, get rid of all these people. Don't get mad when it's hurting your state. When you work for a concrete company, or say you work for a roofing company, and you're not getting as many contracts because a lot of people here have lost their jobs, which is going to affect your work. People who make that kind of money pay for services like that you give out. I mean, it's not like you're getting these services from people who don't have as much money. A roof costs a lot of money. This is why you're able to get these
roofing,
kind of contracts.
Your roofing, landscaping, plumber work. If people don't have the homes, I mean, there's a lot of business. Think about restaurants are going to close down.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of trickle down stuff. That's the real trickle down effect. And people don't understand this. They're like, oh yeah, you're firing everybody to cut, because he did it on Twitter. Elon Musk did that on Twitter. That's, running a digital social media site. It's way different. He cut off 80% of the workforce and only has, I think it's or 70% has 30% of them working. You can't do that with the American federal government. We have so many moving parts here. And the thing is, they're just firing people without actually doing your homework. You should go and do your homework first, right? Sit there and collect, okay, we don't need this person over here that just takes a piece of paper and runs it down the hall. He needs to go. But the person that reads the paper and says, okay, we need to change this formula on the nuclear warhead, you know what I'm saying? You may need to stay there.
You made a very good point by just saying that just because it worked at Twitter does not work for the federal government, because this Twitter doesn't have, aren't dealing with waterways, aren't dealing with pollution, are not dealing with nuclear arsenals. They're not dealing with housing. They're not dealing with all these. So I can go and cut most of my staff. And if I make a mistake, I can figure that out by hiring 1 or 2 people or 10 people or 20 people. This is not good. This is not how the federal government works. This is a problem. And it's going to be a huge problem in red states. Where are they going to go find jobs comparable? They're going to have to leave and go to a blue state to find a job that's even comparable, or where they going to go work at your local, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure where a nuclear engineer, wherever they are, is going to go work in Amarillo, Texas, and make that same kind of money.
Think about it. Some other countries get, trying to hit you up. They're like, hey, you can come work over here. We'll pay you twice of what they're paying you.
It's pretty much what you're setting us up for. You're setting us up to put us in that kind of a position. But when did you not think about these things? Was it just a good idea because you felt like you're socking it to Washington, D.C.? No, federal employees work all over the United States. This is a spread out thing. They thought that those people in Washington, D.C. are going to go need new jobs. No, buddy, you're going to need a new job too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just about them. There's federal offices all over this country, federal employees all over this country.
Imagine you were a Republican, right? And you're like, vote for Donald Trump. And then to come to your work 2 months after he's in there, like, you're fired. Like, what? What? Wait, I voted for you. Like, yep, you did. See you next time.
You see the guy who reached out by letter. So I'm not mad at you. I know you didn't do this on purpose, but my wife was supposed to move to a new position in her job somewhere else. But that position, she quit her old job. We packed up everything and we're about to move. But then that position got shut down because of the cuts that you came in and made. I know you didn't do this on purpose. Can you make an exception for my wife? You know what I mean? Like, this is a joke? Can you make an exception for you? Think he cares about your wife? No. They don't care, but it's not even about this right here. It's about them looking like they're paying for this massive tax cut, this massive money grab that the wealthy 1% are going to take. This is what this is all about. Period. That's all it is. It's like, look, they're trying to make it not hit as hard when they do the tax cuts. You know what I'm saying? But the whole thing is, it's crazy. Like, this isn't even the end of it. The trickle down of this is going to be, our country is going to stop moving. You know what I'm saying? Usually, see, people don't understand this. When a new administration would come in, you know what I'm saying? The government wouldn't stop working. They might do the little government shutdown stuff, but it doesn't stop working. The status quo, that's what the judge blocked. He's like, we don't need the status quo to stop. Your status quo is going to stop. The funding, look, the research they're talking about in here is like cancer research. You know what I'm saying? Like, you've done this to yourselves. You've done it to yourselves, and you can't even. And some people are so prideful. I mean, you could be prideful all you want while you're holding up a sign, because you're not going to be able to get Social Security. You're not going to be able to get food stamps. You know what I'm saying? You can't get Medicaid, Medicare. That shit's out the window. They're cutting those services.
They're getting. Think about it. You've doomed yourself to homelessness and hunger because there's no safety nets anymore.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what the next safety net's going to be. Elon Musk's giving Americans a $5,000 check based on Doge savings.
I need paper to throw in the
sky. Elon Musk says he would check with the president about an idea to issue refund checks from Doge savings. Those checks could be as much as $5,000 per household if the department hits its $2 trillion savings goal. But there are some major hurdles that could scuttle the idea. Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency Task Force claims to be slashing the federal budget, which would ease the federal deficit. But now Musk is exploring the idea of using some of that money to send rebate checks to citizens. In a post on Twitter, X, Tuesday afternoon, Musk said he would escalate the idea of Doge dividend saving. Idea of Doge dividend, saying it will check with the president. The post came in a reply to suggestion by James Fishback, and the CEO and co-founder of a right-leaning investment firm, Azora. The company last year launched by an anti-woke ETF that excluded companies that prioritize DEI hiring. Fishback's calculation, if Doge reaches its target of $2 trillion in savings, a number that includes most of the government's discretionary spending, in which Musk himself has backtracked from in the past month, a 20% cut of that distributed to the Americans would work out to $5,000 per household. The checks he proposes would be sent out after Doge expires next July. So, I mean,
hold on, up to $5,000. If we hit the $2 trillion, he gonna hit you be like, oh, sorry, we only got to 998 billion, 227,000. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're only at like allegedly 16 billion right now. They're only at 16 billion. They're talking about, you know what I mean? Like, you're not catching two. You're not. But that basically the House.
They haven't found any fraud.
I mean, they only cut 16. This is $16 billion, and not even fraud. This is $16 billion in programs that they feel like they don't want to pay for. Like we're saying, government contracts that were given to black contractors for the military and other things like that. They cut that. They're going to have to reallocate those. That doesn't mean this wasn't needed. That means they don't want your black ass getting it. That's what they basically saying.
That's all it was.
I don't want you saying, I don't want you getting this money. Like, I want to give it over here to my counterpart. That's what this is really about. Though that money's going to have to be reallocated. So 16.6 isn't even a number. He lied and tried to say he's at $55 billion, but he's not. Because you go on his website, he's at 16.6 or something like that billion dollars.
And it's not fraud. It's, like you said, it's just money they don't want to give to people. Like when they say DEI, let's all keep that 100, folks. DEI has nothing to do with black folks. It came out after the George Floyd stuff, and it still wasn't. Think about, what did they do for black people after George Floyd? Nothing. Oh, they made an anti-lynching bill when they don't even call it lynching anymore. Well, they done been hanging people for the last 3 years. They call nothing. They say, oh, it's suicide.
I was watching a show called Earn Your Leisure. Shout out to them. They had spoke. I think they said about $360-something billion was supposed to be allocated to black businesses, like to help push up, inequities in the black community and things of that nature. And like they said, less than like 5% or 1% of that money's really been even allocated at all. Something ridiculous. I mean, you guys haven't even touched, even come close to it. And it's just weird. So basically what he's doing is floating this money out there as an idea because he understands that right now I'm about to swindle you. So what do? I float an idea out that you can look at and be like, oh, maybe next July, we're going to get this money if we give the billionaires this money. No, man, you're not getting $5,000 from the government because it doesn't make sense for them to give everybody $5,000. What is that going to do?
Well, actually, it's not about them. They're not going to.
It's going to raise inflation.
They're not going to give anybody $5,000. Look, they know
your money.
They know what they're doing right now is destroying the country, and they're getting a lot of pushback from it because Republicans thought, yeah, you're just going to destroy the Democrats. They're like, wait, no, we poor too. They're seeing their constituents are like, look, bro, this is affecting us. So he comes out with this little, hey, I'll give $5,000 to everybody. So everybody can shut up for 2 days, right? Or free 3 weeks because you're thinking you're going to get this money. It's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to have. There's not enough money for them to give everyone $5,000. Every taxpaying American. I mean,
he has to. I mean, it costs like to give every taxpaying American $5,000. To give every American, it's like 1.6 trillion, $1.7 trillion that you'd have to actually find and actually save.
I mean, they could actually do it, right?
How?
Well, because it's like this. They gave us $1,200, right, in a stimulus check, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they took about 10 grand from us since then. And taxes, fees, all this stuff. So you can take the $5,000, but no, they're going to come back for you for about 30 bands.
I mean, because that's why inflation.
30 bands is actually $30,000.
I mean, that's why inflation happened. We have to remember these are the reasons why inflation happened. This is not we need to cut government spending. There's a lot of things we need to do. I mean, but I'm not against him sending people $5,000, but let's see if he does it. I'd like to see it happen.
to $5,000.
He did say up to five. That's a cold line, right there.
You got up to $5,000. That's like the fine print. You know what I'm saying? On like,
everybody puts the 5,000.
You watch commercials. It's like Transformers don't really move. It's like the fine. He's like up to 5,000. No one's ever gonna get the 5Gs, right? They're gonna send you like $200, $100 here. They're gonna vote on their tax cuts this year. They're gonna want you to go ahead and advocate for their money this year. Yeah. But if everything goes well, I'm gonna get you your money next year. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Up to $5,000. The whole thing is, last time they gave them all tax breaks, how much money did y'all see of that? People were like, "Hey, my taxes are lower this year." Are they lower this year? Oh, are your groceries way higher? Are you paying way more? Yeah, is your groceries higher? Is your insurance higher? Is your home mortgage higher? Everything is higher. So you basically paid all that back times whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I tell people, I'm like, look, they gave you $1,200 in stimulus. Okay, let's say 24, but they came back for it in blood. I mean, it's because it doesn't have adjacent spending cuts. This is what it boils down to. This is why the Republicans are even balking at his new budget proposal, because they're like, man, we need you to find like $2 trillion more in spending cuts. You want to got a $4.5 trillion tax plan that you want to give back to the wealthy, but man, but there's no savings here. You want to take $2 trillion out of what is it? What was it? Medicaid and food stamps. Oh, we want to figure out how to do. It's not even that much money in it. I mean, Medicaid, there's a lot of money in healthcare. Yeah, healthcare, they can do it right. Food stamps is like 1 or 2% of the budget. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And think about it. And that's because the companies have subsidies where companies don't pay you enough money. And these people are thinking about, this is the working poor. That's the part they don't like to say. Like, this is the working poor. These people have jobs. They work 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, and they still are eligible for food stamps. That tells you that they're not getting paid enough because the companies don't have to. Think about everyone that works at Walmart is on food stamps. Everyone that works at Safeway, your local grocery store, are eligible for food stamps because they don't make enough. The job won't pay them enough. They could pay them enough because they've been having record-breaking fucking thing. When's the last time you went to Walmart and there were 7 cashiers? When's the last time you went to Walmart and there was 4? When's the last time you went to Walmart and there was 3 cashiers? I see about 2. I see 2. Even at Safeway, I see about 2 of them. Yeah. I'm like, damn. If you're lucky, and they only call them up because the line gets too long. And now on the other side of where they used to have the self-checkout, they done put some more self-checkout over here. Yeah. I'm like, y'all done doubled up. Oh man, y'all must be trapping good out here. Yeah, bro. They got the wrong look. Even Wendy's came out and they was like, they gonna have AI taking your order. Smart. It just is. I mean, I'm not against the working class. Look, I just went to McDonald's the other day and I said no pickles and they put hella pickles on there. So I'm good for the robot to take it. Was it AI? Huh? Was it AI? No, it was a human. She didn't look happy. AI would have got that. She didn't look happy. I guarantee you, AI would have got that. Yeah, the robot would have got it right. Hey, I gotta give us the clip, man. I went when I was in the not to change too much. When I was in the I think it was the San Francisco airport, I believe it was. They had a coffee machine. Dude, there was just a thing which is all AI. It was like basically just like a robot making the fucking coffee inside the machine. Yeah, everything waves at you and everything like that. I mean, everyone loved it. Everyone's recording it. That's your job right there. They coming for your job. But anyway, ask you for a tip. Have you seen those? Well, the robot's like, "Can I have a tip?" Like, for what? What are you going to spend it on? Bolts? Like, I don't understand. That's going to the. I saw the one guy. He was at the airport. And he was like, "Look, man, I went there." And he's like, and I went into the place. He's like, I grabbed my sandwich. He's like, I grabbed my drink, grabbed a bag of chips and a magazine. And then I walk up to the counter. I set it down. The lady turns the thing around. I pay the money. And then she looks at it and turns it around and asks for a tip. And he said, "What am I tipping you for? I just did all the work myself." And he was like, she had the nerve to get mad at him. It's crazy, man, because they really do expect tips. It's just nuts, man. Yeah. It's that it feels like there are suddenly way more plane crashes and incidents. Here's the truth. The crash landing of Delta Airlines Flight 4819 in Toronto is some of the scariest video I've ever seen. While thankfully there were no fatalities, videos like that are the stuff that nightmares are made of. Monday's crash landing doesn't feel like an isolated incident, especially after last month's collision of an American Airlines plane and U.S. Army helicopter that left 67 dead. It feels like the skies are becoming more dangerous, but sometimes feelings can be deceiving. A look at the statistics suggests that the skies are about as friendly as they've ever been. Take a look at January's preliminary data from the National Transportation Safety Board. It appears that last month there was a record low number of airplane incidents nationwide. When combining private commercial airline flights, most of the 62 total airplane accidents were on private flights. That number total was 18 less than the 80 recorded in January 2024. In fact, the preliminary numbers hold January 2025
will surpass the previous record for the lowest number of total accidents, with 8 fewer than prior record of 70 from January 2012. So, I mean, if they add up the ones we just had today, they had a couple. I had a private
plane crash in Arizona today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it said, Anthony American airline crash under. No, that's a different one. But there was 2 private planes. This says a tragic midair collision at Marana Regional Airport, Arizona, on February 19, 2025, led to the death of both pilots. The collision involved 2 small planes. FAA, NTS, and SB are investigating, raising concerns about aviation safety and air traffic control at regional airports.
But if they're saying that this is like normal,
it is kind of normal. There's we have a lot of plane crashes.
They haven't been talking about like they've been talking. I think
they bring it up. We just have better stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? There's planes crash all the time. They have planes crash on freeways. Planes crash in like parks and stuff.
Normally like little planes.
Yeah, but I mean, like we haven't had an American passenger plane. That's what started off.
Yeah.
That hit a Chinook helicopter, hit it.
That doesn't happen. Not like in midair. It looked like a missile hit the damn plane. That's how it looked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look, like somebody shot a missile at that plane. The way it just directly hit
that's
the side
what
of
sparked that. It made it a hot button issue.
Now you're just noticing all of them that are happening.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of me.
You remember the dude? My bad to cut you off. In Washington, he stole the one plane from the government, and he's flying it around. People were like, "Why are you so low?" And he was having one of them days.
Yeah.
And you hear him talking. Everyone's like, "I've been there before."
He's like, "I think I'm gonna try and." He did something where he almost went to the water and he pulled up. It was a cold. It was crazy. Dude he just didn't care.
No, I've had one of them days too, bro. I've had a day where it's like so I'm not gonna tell you what happened because I can incriminate myself. But it was I was just like, "Fuck it, let's go." You know what I'm saying? And I did some wild shit, and I sit here and I'm like, it was like 2 years ago. I was like, "Damn."
This could have been
it was about to go down because I had it. Somebody did some foul shit to me in traffic, and they did it twice, and they got in front of me and flicked me off, and so I just rushed them. I rushed their ass like, "What's up?"
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, that it's just like right now. I know that everyone. I'm concerned about flying. You know what I mean? But even though I shouldn't be, I
wouldn't be too concerned. But I mean, like, I would.
You got to think about it. You know what I mean? Like, you look at me. They had a bunch.
Where are you going?
I get into my personal business crazy.
Well, are you flying? If we were in Washington, are you gonna fly to California? I think you'd be safe.
I'll probably fly like Arizona or something.
No, there you go. There's the problem, sir.
You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be on a plane longer than 2 hours.
I'm like this. At the end of the day, man, they're saying that it's safe. I feel safe whenever I'm in the sky, but at the same time, when you watch that flight, that Delta flight, that looked crazy to me. That would look crazy.
Went upside down?
Yeah, I was like that. Hey, that would have.
Which one? Think about it. Hey, at least everyone survived.
Yeah, at least everybody survived.
That's the smart.
He did his thing.
Look, the pilot was like, "Look, we're going down. Put your seatbelts on."
He did his thing.
Seatbelts on. You went upside down. I mean, that's a story you get to tell people. Like, yeah,
I'm suing like a mother. I need it all. I need a check for that right there.
Yeah, well, you see the one people they're suing the military and they're suing the FAA right now for like $250 million.
I mean, and as they should, man. Yeah. This is out of control. I'm wondering if this has. We can't even say this has anything to do with everything that's happening within the government, but I know that they're reporting on this more to kind of like they're trying to point out things and make it seem like maybe this has something to do with this.
It's when's the last time? That's what I'm saying. Planes with people on them don't fall like when major airline planes don't fall out the sky. Especially that last one was in Canada, but it came from America. That shit don't happen.
That shit don't happen.
You know what I'm saying? When was the last one? I think we had Sully. He landed in New York.
Yeah, landed.
He survived. Everyone survived though. But there's plane crashes like in South America, bro. Planes full of people. Brazil. It happens all the time.
I'm thinking like in the last year, like in the last 6 months, I know they had 2 plane crashes in Brazil. That makes me nervous to even travel there.
Yeah, notice that they hit mountains and stuff. They get caught in the fog and they can't see. By the time they hit the mountain. You know what I'm saying? All the little stuff that's in the front, it just starts acting up on them. But I mean, like, no, there's plane crashes all the time. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I mean, but it's just one of those things. But let me get into this next one right here. Trump snaps back at Zelensky, blaming Ukraine for the war. President Donald Trump mocked Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky as a poor negotiator and grossly incompetent Tuesday as tensions continue to rise over the administration's direct talks with Russia about ending the war it launched nearly 3 years ago. The comments come amid criticism from European allies and many American intelligence experts that Ukraine and European nations invested in Ukraine's defense had been excluded from the negotiations that began early Tuesday between U.S. and Russian officials in Saudi Arabia. Asserting that the initial round of talks had gone very well, Trump bristled at the Zelensky frustration over being excluded at the Ukrainian president's decision not to fly to Riyadh for additional talks with the U.S. delegation this week. Today, I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited, Trump said when he asked about the criticism from Ukraine seeming to direct his response to Zelensky. Well, you've been here for 3 years. You should have ended it. 3 years. You should have never been there. Never been there. You should have never started it. You should have made a deal. The comment ignoring that it was Russia that invaded Ukraine without provocation 3 years ago this month was Trump's harshest condemnation to date of the Ukrainian side. It came as Zelensky and leaders across Europe are scrambling to respond to a growing indication that Kiev's most critical ally for the last 3 years appears to be more interested in normalizing relations with Russia than in making sure Ukraine endures, and that Russian President Vladimir Putin faces stronger deterrence after starting the first land war on European soil since 1945.
And then we're going to play the video really quick. Donald Trump actually saying that. Here we go.
And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way. And President Biden, in all fairness, he doesn't have a clue. What he was so bad for.
And so that was Donald Trump coming out and saying that about Zelensky. You know, even in, we know it's a lie. We know who started the war. We all saw in the beginning, just like we saw who started January 6th. Anyway, ex-Vice President Mike Pence came out. He said, yo, Mr. President, and I'll put this up here, Ukraine did not start the war. Russia launched an unprovoked and brutal invasion, claiming hundreds and thousands of lives. The road to peace must be built on the truth.
Yeah, this is sad, man. This is a sad time in America right now. I find it exciting. And what really gets to me is that half this country are people who like should never. I don't even say you shouldn't be able to vote because that's your right as an American citizen. But you guys are the worst thing for this country. I won't even say it's Trump. It's y'all. It's really y'all. Your hate and your vitriol and your ignorance is what really hurts this country. Period. You don't care about your country. You've shown me that already because we all know that Russia has never been an ally of ours and they can never be an ally of ours. It's just not in the cards. It's not anyone's fault. It's just what it is.
Well, you know what? I'll say it like this. You know, we watched the video the other day. Maybe we'll bring it up and show it again. But it's like, you know, this guy, he explained it quite perfectly. He said, this is who we are as America. He said, look, a quarter of the people came out and said, nah, we don't want this. A quarter of our population. A little bit over a quarter came out and said, we want this. And the other half of America said, I don't care either way what happens. You know what I'm saying? We're all here to blame for this.
You know what? I'm not.
Not all of us. There's good people.
I don't feel like I'm to blame. I feel you. Hey, I've been railing against this for a while.
Yeah, we have. You know there's good people here in the country, but we don't outsmart. We don't outnumber the people that are bad. Look, only less than half the American population that's eligible voters voted. You know what I'm saying? You have half of America that was like, I don't care either way. And now some people are being affected. You're not going to see the effects. When summer hits, it's going to be a long summer for all of us.
Like you said, man, like during the election, this is something that, you know, a lot of people probably don't catch, but they talk about it now. You're like, where are the 20 million voters, like 15 or 20 million voters that voted in the last election? I mean, it was like a good number because I know that I think that Joe Biden had like 81 or something million people voted.
Donald Trump didn't get more votes.
I think he got like 2 million more. They said he got 77, but you never know. I got that number from a person.
79 last time. I think Joe Biden got like 86 or something like that. He actually got
last time.
He got less votes this time. It's just less people came out for Kamala Harris.
I mean, yeah, a lot less, but a lot of people didn't come out and vote. Is the thing. A lot of people did not step out their home to vote. A lot of people were fooled by that whole, oh, she's not this and this, that, and the third, and Trump was this, and this is what happened during Trump and all this other stuff. And you guys were fooled by that. Oh, grocery prices are high. No one's even talking about grocery prices anymore. No one even cares. They're all if they're not higher right now, they're the same as they've always been. And nobody seems to bat an eye at that. You guys are acting like it's normal now. It's a normal thing. Let's keep pushing. But we see everything else is being affected by it right now. Our country's being. What'd you say?
I'm still talking about the grocery prices.
I haven't heard people talking about them.
Some people can't afford groceries no more because they ain't got no job. You know what I'm saying? You lost your job. You're like, damn, eggs was this expensive. Oh, well, now you can't afford them. Because you know what's crazy? Because you can't get food stamps now because all that's on pause. They're not even taking new people in. Come on now. This is comedy to me. You know why? The reason I say it's comedy to me because I have to treat it as like being a black person in America. If I don't laugh at it, it'll drive me crazy and I'll do crazy shit. So I have to, just let it hang and just treat it the way it is.
I think you made a very poignant. You make poignant points when you say that we've already been going through this. This is nothing new to us. I hear a lot of people are starting to use that sentiment, starting to say that more.
Yeah.
Like after you've already said that, I'm starting to see that more. Like, hey, we've already been going through this. We've already been treated like we've already been, so it's nothing new to us. We understand all this. We know how to piece things together and put it together and make it work.
No, you can't say nothing about it. I mean, you can have those people online bitching and shit. Oh, this and this. The people are holding me down. Bootstraps, bro. We've been building houses out here. We've been taking care of ourselves. Now everybody else gonna have to try to come down to us, and you're not invited. You know who I need to get rid of in the black community? Everyone that keeps trying to invite people to the cookout, they need to go. Because I don't know why you get to come to the cookout and invite all these weird people. You know what I'm saying? That shit pisses me off. Everything. Oh, they're invited to. No, they're not. You're not invited to the cookout.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that right now over in when we really look at how things are going in Ukraine, I mean, just overall, it's a bad. We're in a bad way right now. We're about to lose all of our allies in Europe. I mean, we're going to lose all of our allies in the South Pacific. You know what I mean? Because they're not. I mean, Philippines and Taiwan's trying to buy a few $1 billion worth of equipment from us, trying to bring us in closer. But it's like you got to buy. If you have to buy your closest allies, your partnership, then that's not really your ally. Europe's out of here from us from now on. I wouldn't even trust us. No matter if you get a new president comes in with all kinds of great stuff, because what's going to happen in 4 years when Americans change their mind? You have over, what do you say, a quarter of the population who thinks like this. This is what they think like on a regular basis. At any given time, you guys can be pushed and pulled to vote with them or not vote at all. And this is what we get right here. This is what we get as America. We saw this 4 years ago. We didn't see this, but we saw what it could be. Everyone did a clown show, and now we're right back to the clown show. But now this guy he has the people around him who can understand how to make that clown show become, what is it called? Ringling Brothers. Yeah. Barnum and Bailey Circus, take it all the way to the top.
You see Lindsey Graham, he's trying to sneak in $48 billion worth of aid in the budget deal right now.
To who?
To Ukraine.
To Ukraine or
to Ukraine? He's trying to sneak it. He snuck it in there. And he's hoping it'll pass. I mean, it's in the news, so it's not going to make it.
They're not getting that money. I mean, Lindsey Graham understands who he's dealing with right now. $48 billion to Ukraine. There's no way they're getting that money. You think Trump's giving them any money? He's already made his deal with Russia. We all know. We knew this last time. This wasn't a hoax. This was never a hoax. The Russia hoax was never a hoax. It may not have been exactly what we saw, but he was always bought off to Russia. This has been going on for a long time. He's already been in bed with them since he went bankrupt on all those deals, and only Russian banks, Deutsche Bank and the other banks. I'm not saying that's a Russian bank, but they have ties to the Russian. Everyone knows they've been laundering money through Russia, through Deutsche Bank. Those are the banks that came out and saved him. Just like when he had his condo that he sold for like $90 million, some crazy amount of money that was way more than what it was worth to a Russian. I don't know if the person was a known gangster or something of that nature, but sold it for way more than what it was worth. We all have known for a long time he's been in bed with the Russians.
Well, it seems like this. It's like they just want the money. They don't care what happens to the rest of the world. They don't care if Russia runs it. As long as they get to run America, have the weapons, and control us and control the money, that's what it seems like it is right now. They don't give a fuck about the allies, because you see the Europe is like, we're not messing with the U.S. anymore.
Can't trust us.
We can't trust you.
They're untrustworthy. Period.
Yeah, they're like,
threatening them.
Because to them, they're looking at it like, it goes back to the whiteness and stuff. And then people may not like it, but it goes back to that, because they're like, look, Ukraine's one of us. Russia's like us, but we don't mess with them. But Ukraine is one of us.
Canada's
and so they're like, look, you're kind of turning your back. And so, I mean, if they were doing this to India, nobody would care. You know what I'm saying?
Just give it a minute, man. Canada, man, now they understand who we are. They're going to wait for the perfect time to backdoor us. They understand this dude is the most dangerous. This administration and the people who have voted him into power are the most dangerous thing for this country. You can never talk to me about pride in country. You don't have it. You don't care about your country. You only care about hoping that you can be the person to laugh at someone else.
It's going to be the time when they think. It's going to be the time when they leave their homes. Because the farmer, you see especially on top of that, you see the farmers right now. They're coming out. They're losing all their subsidies. It's going to be the time when you leave your house in your truck and you go to get some gas, and diesel's $20 a gallon, and you're going to try to go to the feed store so you can feed your animals or whatever you got in your house. And there's going to be half the products are going to be there, and they're going to be triple what you wanted. And you're going to go home and look at the news and be like, dang, you can't blame it on the black people. You can't blame it on the immigrants. You can't blame it on the Chinese. You can't blame it on the Indians. You got to look at yourself and be like, I did this to myself.
Absolutely. And one last one real quick here. Texas measles cases are up, and New Mexico now has an outbreak. Here's what you need to know. The measles outbreak in rural West Texas has grown to 58 cases as of Tuesday, and 8 people in the neighboring eastern New Mexico have been diagnosed with the measles. New Mexico Health Department spokesman Robert Knott said Tuesday that the agency hadn't identified any direct contact between the cases in his state and cases in Texas. Measles is a highly contagious disease. Here's what you should know about how to protect yourself against measles, as well as what's happening in Texas and New Mexico. The West Texas cases are concentrated in Gaines County, which has 45 infections. Terry County to the north has 9 confirmed infections, while Lubbock and Lynn counties each have a case each, and Yoakum County has 2. The Texas Department of State Health Services said Monday that 13 people are hospitalized with measles. State health officials say this outbreak is Texas' largest in nearly 30 years. Health Department spokesman Laura Anton said last week that the cases have been concentrated in a close-knit, under-vaccinated Mennonite community, especially among families who attended small private religious schools or are homeschooled. I believe Mennonites are Amish people.
Well, they're saying like this. They're saying there's been, so right now I got an article here. It says there's 58 cases, right? An article I'm reading right now.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 of the people only 4 of the people have been vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's why people say, hey, I don't vaccinate my kids out. This is why you do it. Like, when's the last time you heard about somebody getting measles? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to let people kill themselves. But now if you got 4 people that have been vaccinated against it, that means whatever measles these people are getting is mutating. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you can mutate it. Think about it. It can mutate. And I'm going to just throw this hypothetical out there with COVID. Because think about it. Everybody's getting sick with something. Everyone's been sick with something. You don't know what it is. It doesn't come up as COVID, but it doesn't come up as the flu, but it feels like all of it put together. You know, this is what happens when you have nasty people that don't vaccinate themselves, don't take medication, but they want to come out in public, get everyone else sick. Because that's what it was when people were moving around. And this is sad. This is going to spread more. I mean, they have this. I know they have the measles here, and then they have one. I know in Kentucky they were having something up there, too.
I think it was Kansas. Was
it Kansas?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember what it was either, but yeah, I mean, this is what's been happening, man, is that people are starting to take this whole anti-vaccine thing very seriously. And this is not saying that I'm just for vaccinations. I know they cause
tuberculosis.
I know tuberculosis. Yeah, I know they cause what is it called?
2 dead, dozens sickened so far.
Yeah, it's just it's a sad thing. When you look at like Robert Kennedy, he's the Department of Health minister right now, or whatever the case may be. He came in, told everyone, "Hey, I'm not going to be against vaccines. I'm all for them," because he had a whole anti-vax type of stance. But I know that vaccines sometimes cause autism too. That's a big thing.
It is.
But he came and he said that. But now he's in office, and his first day, he's like, "Hey, I want to go and look at all these vaccines and see from the very beginning what we can use and what we need to get rid of and whatever else." I mean, don't get me wrong. We haven't seen polio in a long time either, and a bunch of other things.
He wanted to come in and change the childhood vaccine schedule.
Yeah,
after promising,
he's looking at,
and then he backed away from it. He's like, "No, I'm gonna leave it alone," because he knows the harm it'll do. They do believe autism is from the vaccines when some kids get them young.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Which you should study that. But changing the schedule, you're gonna sicken. You're gonna kill all the kids.
He said something about black people don't need the same schedule as other people because we have a natural immunity, more of a natural immunity because of some study out of Poland. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's dangerous what he's saying. It's not saying that
all right, fuck it. So, the reason black people are kind of such healthy is because the reason America doesn't have a universal health care is because they said they didn't want black people to have it and to stay and to live longer. They thought they'd kill us off. But what it did, it just made us stronger because we had to build stronger immune systems. So now when you come to it, yeah, we don't live till past 60 sometimes, but we live strong. I'm saying we live pretty strong. Think about it. European Americans here in America are sickly people. They're really sickly. There's a lot of medication. That's what you have. We just started having healthcare as black people, having universal. So we have stronger immunity. So it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? For us to live, better, healthier lives and be stronger and stuff. But
I get it. I just don't. Yeah. I mean, one of a congresswoman came out.
What?
She just didn't want him spreading that information that way because it would change people's minds about how they vaccinated their kids, and things like this could happen. I mean, right now we have measles spreading in Texas. And what do you think is going to happen when they start talking and he start coming out saying that, oh, these vaccines are bad and X, Y, Z? You're going to start having these spreading in just normal elementary schools across America, infecting people's kids. And next thing you know, you're going to have polio spreading, things that are not naturally problems here in our country.
Texas, they had to shut down a majority of the school districts because they were so sickly over there. Yeah. Look, these people are telling you one thing.
I bet you their kids are vaccinated.
You know what's crazy? Someone came out recently. This is kind of off subject, but on subject. They brought up Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, look, nobody ever brings up what Rush Limbaugh said or did or any of that stuff. He was just a grifter that came out, said some wild stuff at times. Whatever. There's nobody. He's been dead for 4 years. No one brings him up. They don't ever talk about him in high spirits. There's no statues about him. There's no books written about him. He was just a shock jock. He told you a bunch of bullshit to rile you up. And that's what they've been doing to you. They told you, hey, don't take these vaccines. Don't do this. They did it for money. And now your children are sick. Now your children are going to have brain damage. They're going to have health problems for the rest of their lives because you want to listen to somebody because it suited what you thought was right instead of just going with the status quo of here in America. And I know for me as a Black American, it's hard to go with the status quo because status quo ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? But for you, it's detrimental to your family's future. And that's all I got to say about that.
And with that, we'll leave it here.
Yep. And we'll let you know. And next time we'll see you here on Uncommon Courtesy.